And the reason I'm making flowers, I seem to always enjoy making flowers, is because I decided I was going to make a wreath. And let me show you the wreath I'm working on. It's up here. There she is. I decided to go with pinks and lavenders in this wreath. And so I'm making, this is an a technique satin flower. I showed you how to make something like that last time with, I think I made it with organza, but this one is satin. And then I'm making flowers to go on my wreath. This is actually a wreath, and this is basically me starting it. I put everything all the way around it. And if you've seen my wreaths, they're most of them. Hello, hi, crafting from the heart. Most of my wreaths are very, very detailed. That's why I charge so much for them. But I do have some that I've made very kind of detailed, but smaller for those who really want to afford one of my wreaths. But recently, people have been seeing my wreaths and was asking about a wreath, a larger wreath, and I only have a blue one. So I decided I'm going to make something pink and lavender, more springish, and I'll probably make another pink one. So I think I have two large wreaths in my shop. I'm trying to make the price ranges different. So this one, when it's done, it's going to cost the highest one because it's going to get very detailed. I'm going to add a vintage doily in the center, and I'll be adding a lot more to this. But this is me starting to make the flowers and thinking about what I might be attaching to it. And I like to make some flowers with the actual fabrics I've placed on the wreath. So I have some lavender, and I have this flower, and I have lace already on the wreath and the pinks and this. And so now I'm going to make flowers. And I said, well, I'm going to show you guys how I make those flowers. And the first few minutes, I thought I'd just talk about a little bit about my project, but I'm not going to show you the whole project. I'm going to just show you this one type of flower because last time, hi, hi, Gloria. Yes, when we're very detailed, so I do sell mine, and I really make them, and I make a handful of them when I feel like it, when my mood is, there. And I do have custom orders you can make, but I charge for them. So, and because I wouldn't be able to make those wreaths as detailed as I go, and sell them really inexpensively. It's not even just all the fabrics and laces that go into it. A lot of it is the time that it takes me to just design it. So this is one of the flowers I made, and I made it with the the same flowers, same fabrics. Um, and So this is my messy table. You don't see the real mess. I cleaned it up a little bit. But here's me where I'm working, and I decided I'm going to just share them with you while my 8-year-old right now is in the bathtub, and I can hear him. He's on the same floor level with me, so I can hear him. So if you can hear him, he's playing with dinosaurs in the bathtub. So this is one I'm going to make. And the last time I made the organza ones with all of this technique, this time it's going to be a cotton fabric, and it's going to be using the same technique, but I'll explain to you some of the things you have to think about when you're making it. Since I wanted to go with this wreath, that's the reason why these colors are what I'm doing. So let's go ahead and start. One of the things that when you use cotton, when I use organza, we use like 18 inches of long fabric. For cotton, because it's so thick, you need to use less, and then you need a layer. So this is a layered flower. I have two flowers together, and can you see how thin that is? They come out quite thin, so this technique for cotton would be good for you to use if you scrapbook or anything like that, because they can be thin. I can make these thicker by layering them, or just adding organza on top of it. Okay, so I do have other tutorials out there that I did years ago, but I'm going to show you with this. This is a piece of fabric. It's the one I used in that. This fabric, I believe I purchased it from Joann's, and I made some of my dress kits with it, my dresses with it, and I also am now going to use what's left over I added some to this wreath. And so this length of this fabric is about 10 inches. So the width of this fabric, because this is usually when you want to make your flower, the size you want to make your flower, you make it just at least a quarter of an inch bigger. and that'll help you make it the size that you want it. So I want a 4-inch flower. So, or just a little more like a 3.5 to 4-inch flower. So it's about a little over 4 inches. So that's up to you. And I showed you last time that I take these and I put 2 fingers out. You can take 2 fingers out because I do like, you can make your petals thinner or thicker. So I just take this piece and you can wrap it around your hand and make like that. Or I'm going to show you with a ruler. I have 3 things here. I have a piece of cardboard, which is actually from one of my laces. One of my laces was on this, and I said, hey, that's a perfect size to make a flower petal if I want. And it's a little bigger than this one. So now I have 3 sizes. I have a thin ruler, and let's measure how wide that is. It's about a 1-inch ruler. And then this ruler right here is thicker. It's wider here. I'm talking about the width of the ruler, not how long it is. And this one is about 1.5 inches wide. And then this piece of cardboard I have here is about almost about 1 3/4 inches wide. So if you want really wide petals, you can cut your own cardboard piece, or I use your fingers, or use this. Right now I decided I was going to use this because it fit perfectly when I wrapped my my fabric around it. So we're going to just get this, and we're going to excuse me, instead of my fingers, I'm going to use the ruler. And one thing you're going to do is you always look at one side and you try to keep one side even, at least one side even when you're wrapping it. So I'm wrapping it around, and you're wrapping gently. Don't tug it tight because it'll be hard to take it off the ruler. And I wrap it gently. As you can see, it looks like it's about halfway, but I kind of spin it around so that it is folded just level. And if it's off, your fabric is off, the one inside will be the one that petal that will be misshapen. So we're making petals. When you make the petals, this one right here, you can see my petals are very rounded on this pink one because I'm using pink in this one also. This one right here, the purple, the petals are thinner and more triangular. That's my son right there. Hold on, give me a second. Isaiah, I'm recording, so give me a few minutes, okay? What? I'm recording, so give me a few minutes. All right. So we need to make this flower so that I can get my son out of the bathtub. He was ready. I thought he was going to be there longer. So I've done that with this fabric, but the shape you make these depends how the shape of your paddle goes is how you cut it. Now, you're not going to be searing these because fabric cotton will melt. And this fabric is medium thickness. Yes, these are using my own technique. I use a la Liz technique, which is my technique I came up with. And it's really not my own in that no one's ever done anything like it. It's that I've combined different types of flower making and made it my own, if that makes sense. Because what I find out is that even though mine are unique, they're not as unique as you always think, you know. So what you do is I like to sometimes fold it in half because this is only 10 inches of fabric. It's not too thick to cut, just to estimate your center point right here. And if you want to shape your flower, you can think about going from here to the center up here, and you can cut it this way and make it a triangle shaped petal. Okay, but I want this one to be a little more rounded like this one. So I'm just going to take this and cut some of it to rounded a little bit. Now remember, this is all guessing. If you want, you can hold this piece up and kind of use it to help you around the next piece, but I'm looking at the center here, and then I'm kind of going towards the center over here and just thinking about cutting off this triangle. So this came out kind of pointy, and this one came out kind of straight. It really doesn't matter, but you can get better at it. I cut them better when I'm not showing you because I'm paying closer attention. So I'm just trimming it. You can trim it any way you want. Okay, you can do the same on the other side. You just trim it, just like I showed you how to make the petals for your other fabric. The cool thing about these flowers, the way they come out, is they're fast and they're easy. It's just about the fabric you use. So this fabric is not really thick, so I can use 10 inches. If you had a thicker fabric, you might not want to use 10 inches. All right, And then I do the same thing as the last time along here where you have not cut. Take your scissors and you cut it more. And you want to go almost all the way to the edge. You want to leave about 1/4 of an inch so that these petals do not fall apart. You don't want the petals to fall apart. There we go. You can always cut them later if they're off a little bit. That's not a big deal. So here we go. So you can see it just, when I unroll it, they're petals and they're not all exactly the same size. They are held together by about 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch of the fabric. And how far apart you leave these also based on your flower. When you have a very floppy flower, you might want to make these less, which I haven't re-shown you that. I use a hairpin in my flower making. Okay, and I also use a piece of string. You can use yarn, you can use whatever you want. Just know that if your string breaks, you might want to double it up. Like yarn, most of the time will break if you cut it too tight. And now all I do is take a pin from the center. How many petals do I get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's going to be 12 petals on this one. And you can make it with less petals if you want. And I'm just gathering it just a little at a time, gathering it, gathering. Okay. So I really am cutting into the middle of my day, just saying, okay, well, I need to show them how to make these. And so now you can see that it's gathered. And then I take, this one is, I folded, I doubled it up. This is the crochet cotton lace. You get cotton string. It's made for crocheting, and that's what I use. Mine is a really thin one. I don't know what thickness, but I go over twice because that helps it to stay down, and the cotton also helps it to stay down. And I've done it, I've tightened it up, and over here you can see the edge of the pin. I start pushing that out, and I kind of keep these two flat as I tighten to make sure that they don't roll up against each other, because it's going to be a flat flower. Okay, and then I also hold it down here and here at the same time as I tighten it. You can see the tightness coming. So I'm making sure that they don't roll, this one doesn't roll up like we did the last time. It rolled all up and it looked beautiful, rolled up. But I want the tops of my fabric to show, not the bottoms. And this is going to be more of a flat flower. Okay, so I do that. You can always tighten it up more after. I will take it to the back and retighten it. Now say you want to fray this flower, you can fray it if you want, but see how pretty that is? Okay, I got back on frame, right? There you go. I'm going to do the purple one too. Okay, so this was the layered look I was making. And so I can just take the pink, a pink one, solid, I put it on the back, or you can use the same color. You can use lace on the back, or you can use a little bit of lace on the top, layer it any way you want. There's my mess. Pull some of that up. Okay, and here we go again. So here's another piece, and this one I made it a little bit wider this way. Why? Because I wanted it to stick out a little bit. See how this one's sticking out a little more? The lavender is a little bit bigger. So this one I made it a 4.5, where the other one was closer to 4. And it still is about 10 inches long. And we are going to use the same ruler. You can use a smaller ruler if you want thinner petals. You want to experiment with what you have. And this one right here feels like it's more of a polycotton blend. Is that correct? Yes. It feels like it might have a little bit of polyester in it. And I'm twirling it up. See? There you go. All right. So now this one had the petals really pointy. You could make them pointy or whatever shape you want. I'm deciding I'm going to round it because I didn't like how it looked. I wanted it to show more the lavender from the back. So I'm just going to round it just a little. Very little. Okay. And it's still pointy, but it's more all the way up to the top. There's going to be more flowers showing. Isaiah, I'm recording right now, honey. Okay, see? And then the same thing, I like to fold it. If it's thin enough, I fold it. And I know, so you can see one of these pieces, the one at the bottom didn't get cut very far, but I'll cut it to about quarter. And I'm cutting each side the same way I showed you. And as you can see, I make a lot of flowers, and I'm going to load this wreath up with a lot of flowers. And I'll use some that I just made, and some of them I'll pull from my stash of flowers I've made in the past. Because flowers are my, when I'm not feeling well and I'm not feeling rather creative, a lot of times I'll just make flowers. It's just like a comfort to me. So there we go. And so here, if it's off a little bit and it's just like a half of a petal, you can cut it off. I told you this one was very close, the 10 inches with that run ruler. So here we go again. There's petals. You can see they're held together. And then see, a lot of times flower making, they teach you to make it and they're having you separate each individual petal and stuff like that. You can, if you can use ribbon, and you can cut the ribbon up here on top, and you can actually use single petals of ribbon. I've shown that to you also when I had a bunch of scrap lace that I rescued from, not lace, but fabric. And I have tutorials of how to do. Hi, everyone. Yes, please make sure you guys talk to each other down there. Yes, you can fray these more. I do have different flowers. I make the puff flowers. I fray a lot more. If you want to fray this and you want to make it look more shabby, you can. I usually do it when it's here, either like before I do this, but I don't want this one to fray too much. So you can usually at this point when I cut it, that's when I fray it, when I want it to be frayed. Well, we could do that with this one here. Let's do it. So I usually go like this, just like this, back and forth. This one shouldn't fray too much because it actually has some polyester in it, I think. But then it would get all frayed. And some fabrics, it's based on you, what fabrics you like, what fabrics you're using. You can get an old cotton shirt that you have that's all worn down, and you can use that, and it might fray a lot. And another shirt might not. Yes, you can use ribbons to do this. In fact, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to re-show you my methods a little bit more, and I'm not planning to do a lot of editing of my videos right now, but I plan to maybe someday if I want to go back and edit them and cut off all the other talking and just do short ones. So again, the same way. Trying to get back on frame. When I said last time, I put it through, and then I go like this once, twice. I learned that when you do it twice, it helps to hold the knot, or hold it. So I pull it out a little, I tighten it again, I hold it when I pull up this, and I don't, you can let the petals fold up, but it makes it harder. Hi, hello, everyone. You could talk to each other, please, because as I'm working, I work by myself, as you see today. My 8-year-old got himself out of the tub. Awesome. And he understands that I'm recording. So I put some lunch in for him. You having problems seeing the video? Well, it could be that my Wi-Fi could go out, because it does go out sometimes. Okay, so can you see right here? So right here, can you see how this one started folding up? You can kind of grab the petals and pull it down. And then right here where this meets, later on when you're ready to finish your flower, you can put a little bit of glue there to help them to stay together too, if it's bothering you, but usually it's fine. So there you go. And then if you want to pull it up to make it fill up more, you can do that to give it more texture. You can take it, and if you want to, you can pull every other petal up, and it might give it more form to your flower. But for the most part, these ones are great. They come out very flat. And so now you can take this and put it on. That's what I did to this one. I put it on top. And then you can take this one. I put a button. I put some of these silver buttons in my. I'm putting together a. I quickly ran out of my white and pink kits. I made another white, and I'm gonna probably do a YouTube share on that soon because I put a lot of different things in this white um, lot. It basically is for you to use for junk journal and crafting. It has a lot of cool things in it. So now you can put a flower, anything you have. Hello, everyone. Yes, there you go. So was that simple or not? And yes, this is actually the type of petal I used when I did make my poinsettia flowers. I have a video where I shared my poinsettia flowers that I made. I made that one out of ribbon. If you go to Christmas and you look for my poinsettia flowers, I showed you how I made it out of that outdoor ribbon, which I used it on an outdoor wreath that I made. I actually have that one in my I put it on my door, and I also put one up in my shop that sold already. But like I said, I don't do a whole lot of them. Now, one of the things that could happen to you when you're making this is that they might be uneven. Now, you tighten this, but you don't tighten it so much that you can't move the petal. So if we look at these two petals, you can see one is longer than the other. So what I usually do is I usually grab them both and put them the same length, and then I kind of tug on them. If that doesn't work, I tug one side, and now they're closer. Let's see. So if it's this way and you say, "Oh man, this side of the petals are longer than this side," you can tug on them gently and move them. But you realize this takes experimenting. I've been making my flowers for several years now, and I have learned how to make them, and every fabric I get, I change. So let's say you get a fabric and your fabric's thick, make the strip shorter. So mine was 10 inches, make yours 9 inches, take off a petal, and you might like the way that flower looks better. It won't be as full, but it's perfect for layering, see? So I think that's all I wanted to show you guys. I was going to show you while my son was in the bath and I got to give him some lunch. And I will probably make a puff flower later, and I plan to show you the white kit that I made. And just know if you want to purchase my items, you can go. I sell lots of lace and trim supplies, and they are on my Etsy shop. And usually there's a link in the description box below. And also note that I do at anything over $35 domestic will be going. You get shipping taken off at checkout. Plus, those of you who are international, guess what? I went ahead and put international back on. Let's see how it goes for me. I shipped a couple of orders already. International, they were not big orders, they were small orders, so they didn't worry me too much. But last time I had some issues. So just know that if you're international, you may be able to order from me. I didn't put all international on, but I put a lot of it. So make sure you check it out if you hadn't been able to order before, and you can. This is Liz with Crafty Devotion. I will talk to you guys next time, and I should be recording soon again. Bye, everyone.